series. I'm just going to quickly set up predictions, and you can place your bets on who's going to win the best of 5.
That you can. As we kick things off on Hardwire, we're just going to get those predictions on the way. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be a player here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner? A Blues Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. He is Zest. It's best.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Alpha X. He just took down a Malaysian. He just took down a Taiwanese. Now he's up against a Korean. It is RagnaroK.
You know, after I mentioned that both RagnaroK and Zest are currently some of the largest brained players of their respective races, that made me realize we're going to get 5 40-minute games in a row, aren't we?
It's possible. You're not wrong. Depending on the maps, to be fair, there are going to be a lot of maps in the best of 5.
Yeah. At least 3.
We're going to be leaning in that direction. It's one of those things where we saw players like Ranger and Nice try and cut corners and rush towards a higher kind of Skytoss army and struggle to get there safely. Zest is going to show us all how it's done. Like, he's going to show us how to get into carriers and void rays and just chill on 4 bases and max out and then you move across the map. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. And of course, it is going to take a while to get there. RagnaroK, he's not quite like a player like, say, Solar, who wants to end the game early. He's more than willing to just, you know, play to his opponent's weakness, shall we say. If he recognizes that Zest is playing a lot more defensive, is playing a lot more, is turtling up a little bit more, then he's more than willing to give Zest that time.
Exactly, and I do expect RagnaroK to maybe turn up the aggression on some of these other maps, like, I don't know, like a Blackburn, for example. We saw him go for a Hydra timing there. I can see him doing the same. Maybe even on a map like Berlingrad. But on a map like Hardwire, I'm not too sure. I also kind of, I also am a little bit adverse to seeing a Queen Walk as well. Like, the scary thing about that is that Zest is one of the best at defending against that style. Like, just because of how common it was for such a long time.
Yeah, and you have to think that RagnaroK is, you know, aware of that. He's gonna probably factor that in when it comes to how he decides to play this out, or maybe it won't. Maybe he's thinking, look, that's exactly what Zest is thinking. That's exactly how Zest thinks that I think. So I'm just gonna turn around on him.
The mind games, let's go. Well, already he does scout the Stargate. The Void Ray is confirmed, so, you know, RagnaroK knows it's not like a Twilight Council Glaive Adept opener or anything crazy like that. But now it's on the follow-up scout, you know, after the initial Void Ray, what is going to come out? Is it going to be another Void Ray? Is it going to be Triple Oracle? Is it going to be a Twilight Council? This is something that RagnaroK has to eventually keep an eye on.
That he does. Nice start here for Zest, picking up 3 drones, with only losing a single adept as well. That's, yeah, pretty dang good, as we do see that he is not going straight for the Sky Toss. Does want to play a little bit more with his gateway units first.
Yeah, and like, this is what's scary. Like, this is where RagnaroK, again, like, he needs to see this at some point, because double Stargate is so common, and it can be so common. Meanwhile, target fire is pretty good, but Zest just barely gets away with his Oracle. 4 drone kills on him.
Oh boy. Yeah, plus those 3 from the adepts earlier. This is a brilliant start for Zest. And he is doubling down. He's not stopping at all. you know what? There was a part of me who thought, okay, maybe he's gonna go for Blink, right, to play a bit more defensively. But who am I kidding? It's Zest.
Yeah.
He's doubling down on the Adepts. He wants more drone kills.
Yeah, let's go. What's important is that Zest was researching +1 air attack, and RagnaroK saw it. He was able to spot that. So now he may be thinking, oh, it's double Stargate, right? Maybe it's even a double Stargate into a fast fleet beacon, for all he knows. So he's being given a little bit of false information. Zest can still finish this, because like after the Glaive Adept, he can then transition into double Stargate Void Ray. So this is still real, but again, all these Adepts and the Twilight Council and the gateways, like this hasn't been seen yet.
Not at all. You know, there are certain players who would see just a single Void Ray and think, you know, that's a little suspicious, right? Why does he have more? But that's not as good of a tell as seeing all of these Adepts, which thankfully enough, RagnaroK does see. Yep. Fortunately, he does have a Roach Horn, so.
Exactly, he doesn't have a Roach Horn. Banelings is about to finish up, and he needs those Banelings. He needs to try and chase down these Adepts, but the Adepts are already here. How much damage is going to get done before the Banelings are ready?
And you're already fighting the Queens one by one. These are also going to be slow Banes, by the way, so yeah, even then, RagnaroK needs to make sure that there isn't any room at all for these Adepts to avoid them. There wasn't any room, but it seems like the target firing was good enough here for Zest to take those out. Not too many drone kills, all things considered, but RagnaroK is still taking a ton of damage, losing all those Queens, losing plus all these drones.
And I'm a little bit worried because, mate, we need more Banelings because here comes round 2. Zest is not stopping. It's like, mate, I don't have a Warp Prism, I don't have a Robo, but I don't even need one, mate. And GG gets called!
Zest takes game number 1. He didn't even need to go into Stargate, into Skytoss that game. He just adepted, RagnaroK into submission.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's one of those things where no one expects the second wave of Adepts to just walk across the map. And RagnaroK wasn't. He's like, okay, I defended, I just finished up my Hydra Den, you know, I can drone up, I can work on my Hydra push that I wanted to go for to begin with, and nope. More Adepts just showed up, mate.
Yeah. That's how you win the economic game. You know, you never even need to fight. And the biggest fight that we had that game was Adepts versus Queens.
Mm-hmm. It really was. And as we get into game number 2, massive shout out to Ducklings in the chat for giving us a cheeky raid. I hope you enjoyed your stream of, I want to say Guilty Gear. I'm not sure. I know you were streaming. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and welcome all the people coming over from Ducklings chat. Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos.
Sí.
Hola, viewers. Y gracias, señor Ducklings, por favor. As we continue our series now to game number 2. Oh, he was playing League apparently. Yeah. As we get into game number 2 here on Blackburn LE, we're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way to the bottom left-hand corner. We, of course, have a blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. He is on an absolute roll. He just won a tournament a couple days ago, and now he is continuing and winning another, admittedly a bit more of a less prestigious tournament, but it's his home. It is where he belongs. He is, of course, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. He is Zest.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Alpha X. Down in this series, but is a best of 5. We got plenty more matches to go. It is RagnaroK.
You have to imagine that this was RagnaroK's map pick, right?
100%. 100%. Again, I feel a little bit bad for RagnaroK, but like Zest did a really good job at hiding his build, hiding his tech, and keeping everything like keeping RagnaroK in the dark for as long as possible. And not just that, but again, the follow-up wave of Adepts was insane. Again, like most Protoss players, they just go for the first wave and then they transition. That's it. They just leave it at that.
Yeah. If they were gonna go for a second wave, they'd have committed more into warpers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Zest says, you don't need that. That's just a waste of money. You can still commit, fellow Protoss players.
Oh god. Yeah, Zest just does it like no one else, so he does take the first game. Something to bear in mind is that, again, RagnaroK was working on a Hydra push in the last game. Obviously he didn't get there, but maybe that's something that
I didn't
he'll...
even notice that.
Yeah. Maybe that's something that he'll try and accomplish here in game 2.
Yeah. We shall see, as, again, Blackburn, a very, very good map for Hydra pushes, but doesn't really matter at all if Zest is able to decimate the mineral lines before RagnaroK can even get to that stage attack. We'll see. I highly doubt he's going to go for another Glaive to Depth build, but still a lot he can get done with Oracles, with Void Rays. Heck, even Phoenixes if he times it out right.
Yeah, that's why in this matchup, knowledge is power. In every matchup, in StarCraft in general, knowledge is power.
That's why you see the top players are the ones with big brains.
Exactly.
Like RagnaroK.
There you go, mate. There you go. And it's going to be on him. Meanwhile, this doesn't help losing his first Overlord to this Stalker without seeing the tech. But there's a Stargate anyway, and I mean, this Oracle shouldn't deal too much damage, right? Spore's on the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he knows that he wasn't able to scout, so he's playing it safe. Is it safe enough?
Yeah, the Spore was a little bit late there, but a little bit of mistargeting by that Oracle wastes some DPS on the Queen and only gets 2 drones, but still 2 drones.
2 drones, still 2 drones, and I tell you what, 2 Oracles. It's more than 1 Oracle.
No, it's more than 2.
4.
You're not wrong. But we do see a triple Oracle opener coming out from Zest, and Zest so far has kept every single one alive for the time being. Question is he crazy enough to get a 4th?
You and I both know the answer to that, mate.
Oh my god.
Just heard an explosion somewhere. But it was nothing. I thought an Oracle went down or something, but no. Apparently not.
Was it IRL? Was it? Is there something going on in your building, Yaku?
Maybe.
Oh god. But here we go. The Oracles do rock up. They're trying to throw down their stasis wards, and it looks like they will go up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, unfortunately, the second stasis ward did get popped a little bit prematurely, but yeah, that was a really smart way of denying the mining in this gold base when you know you can't kill the drones.
Exactly, so a nice stasis there. Meanwhile, we have a massive link run by at the 3rd base. Ooh, the Oracle just barely managed to avoid those Queens. And the Lings, are they enough to deny the 3rd with the arrival of these Oracles? No, they are not.
Unfortunately. The Oracles are pretty low on energy. No, that's the 3rd Oracle here. Never mind.
Yeah, that's the power of triple Oracle, mate. Lings, they do nothing.
The Lings! They do nothing. Okay.
And what's important is that after that 3rd Oracle, we did see a hard switch into a Twilight Council. It is going to be for a Blink follow-up, not just Blink, also with +1.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty dang devastating, especially if RagnaroK decided to go for Hydras again. But as we see, he is switching things up a lot now, and actually working on that Spire. I mean, Stalker's still really good in that scenario, but yeah, I'm curious as to what RagnaroK wants to pull out here.
Yeah, the Spire kind of tells us that maybe he wants to go into Mutas. Like, a Muta switch wouldn't be bad whatsoever, but we'll see if he's going to be able to execute it well enough and if it goes unscouted.
Yeah, there's a certain point where if you get enough Mutas, you can try to overwhelm the Stalkers, assuming they're away from Sank Defense or Archons, but yeah, more likely RagnaroK's just gonna get a handful of them to try to harass.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so risky, but we'll see how much he commits. At the moment, he's not making too much gas. Sure, he's got like 400 gas, so he can make a handful of those mutas. What I'm worried about is that soon Zest is going to push out. +1 just finished up. He's waiting for an Immortal and then that War Prism, and as soon as the War Prism is done, he's just going to send it.
But then again, so is RagnaroK. He's getting a bunch more roaches. He's posturing and opening up a couple more avenues of attack, clearing out the debris. And if they both push out at the same time, I gotta say, I feel like I want to favor RagnaroK just because he does have a little bit more supply, and if he gets this around, he can bile down all these units.
Yeah, then
again, he has Blink.
You're not wrong. Like, RagnaroK hasn't really been droning up. Like, his 4th is pretty late, to be honest. Like, he's only working off of 66 drones. Like, he has a pretty massive army, and he's waiting for that massive surround. He's going for it! The sentries! The sentries! Oh!
They do nothing! Well, actually, they do get a pretty good force fields off. Stalkers, once again, they still do have Blink if things get a little bit too dicey. But they're not using that Blink. It's getting dicey. Zest!
Oh my god.
GG is called, and RagnaroK takes game number 2. Ties up 1-1 in the best of 5.
Does tie it up. Which I'm surprised by, because Zest with his Oracles, he saw how late the 4th was. He saw that RagnaroK wasn't really focusing on his economy, but he decided to push out anyway. And to be fair, maybe it still would have worked out for him, but it was so unfortunate that all those sentries got surrounded to start things off, and they delayed any kind of force fields, and you saw that he was even panicking to lift up and protect his Immortal as well. Like, he was so caught out.
Really was. So those awkward scenarios where Zest was working this entire time on a timing, on a +1 push, when, you know, in reality he would have still been ahead if he stayed at home.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it looked like he didn't seem too concerned with what RagnaroK was doing. He was like, you do you, buddy. I do me. But
and then I try to do you, but yeah, you do me.
That's exactly what just happened.
Verbatim. So the conversation went as we continue our... Man, that's also why I wanted to see this matchup, right? And we're talking about it, the two big brains clashing. But yes, anyway, we're going to be continuing our series now on 2,000 Atmospheres. LE! Did you hear about that massive tour that they're happening? They're getting all the bands from 2000s. Piling them into Las Vegas. As we continue our series now, in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner, we have a blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. We have Zest.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2,000 Atmospheres LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player putting a point on the board in this series and fighting back in game number 2, representing Alpha X. It is RagnaroK.
Oh boy.
We've had some pretty spicy games so far in both in game 1 and game 2. Has it?
You
gotta answer the door.
Apparently, I'll be 1 second.
Oh good. What I was gonna say, as Yaku does answer the door, is that we've had some pretty explosive game 1 and game 2 so far in this series. But now we get into 2,000 Atmospheres, a map that is kind of known to favor Skytoss, to favor a more defensive and turtling Protoss. I wonder if that's what Zest is going to do, or if again he does something a little bit more unexpected. Again, like, Zest has a lot available in his arsenal, and he's the one who I kind of look to here to see if are we going to see double Stargate? Are we going to see, I don't know, a fast fleet beacon into Tempest to make use of how large this map is and how much dead space there is on this map as well? Or are we going to see something different? We'll see. As he does force the unnatural natural. It's something that also happened in the previous game. Something that I didn't point out is that it was pretty nice to see that RagnaroK even prioritized that gold base as his third. It's something you don't see too often. Like his kind of base layout was looking a little bit awkward. But here we go. It does take his regular third base here. There is no gold to be taken. And yeah, everything is looking pretty normal. The Stargate opener, once again, it's what we typically expect in this matchup. Very rarely do you see Twilight Council openers anymore. They're a thing of the past at this point. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. And this time it is going to be a Void Ray first. No Oracles, which again does kind of lend towards that map idea. Blackburn, it's pretty small, it's pretty congested and condensed as a map is, so you can make use of those oracles and go across the map and go back and forth incredibly quickly to harass and to defend. But a map like this, on a larger map, Void Ray first, gonna deny some vision, and then get into those oracles.
Oh.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Back? Yes. Sorry about that.
Oh god, is everything good? It's all good?
Mm-hmm.
Was there an explosion in your apartment complex earlier? Was there?
That's what it was. They came to say, don't panic.
Oh, God. Oh, good. I mean, so far the openers have been pretty standard, but immediately Zest gets across the map, snipes 2 drones, and recalls back home.
There we go. So, yeah, just about more of the same. Question mark?
Yeah, we had a Void Ray first. That was the big difference. And as we can see, only a single Oracle has been made. Hasn't really dealt too much damage. But after that first Oracle, I was talking to the chat about, 2000 atmospheres and how it kind of lends towards Skytoss a bit more. And that's exactly what we're seeing from Zest.
There we have it then. It is a little bit strange that, we're mentioning that Zest is switching things up by getting a Void Ray just because of how standard it's been, but surprisingly, this series so far hasn't been too standard.
Yeah, I was bringing that up as well. The fact that, like, game 1 and 2 were crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I welcome, like, the nonsense that we were
chaos.
seeing. Yeah, exactly. Something different.
Yeah, we got a lot more variety going on. Which is to be expected, I suppose. When you have the clash of the intellectuals.
Exactly. They're both trying to outsmart each other. And here we go. We even see a third Stargate on the way. We have that forge for cannons as the first cannons are being thrown down. So again, Zest taking things very slow, getting his third up and running, and looking to get into Skytoss. What's interesting to me is that RagnaroK has kind of confirmed this. He sees multiple Void Rays. And once again, he's going for Hydras.
He really wants this to work, at least once in this tournament, but I think finally he will be able to get what he wants out of this. It's going to be a little bit trickier when Zest has a bit of a critical mass of Void Rays, but 9 times out of 10, you got to favor Hydras over Void Rays.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Hydra timings can work really well. If Zest was paying attention with that revelation, he would have seen the Hydras pop out, but I'm not too sure if he did. And that should be a sign to, okay, maybe I need some charge lots. I need something else other than pure Void Ray. Because that's kind of what Hydras want to go up against. It's when things like splash damage and AoE comes in that Hydras do drop off.
Yeah, that's why it's so important for Zest now to recognize that there are Hydras coming out and, for him to switch up a little bit. I've been knocking on my door again. Okay, 1 second.
Okay, all good. For those wondering, Yaku does live in an apartment complex. So I don't know if there's like Uber Eats coming around or just some solicitors. I don't know. Hopefully everything is okay over in the land of Yaku. As he does go and check. Meanwhile, the response to all these Hydras, Zest did throw down a bunch of gateways. 3 gateways are on the way. Still no Twilight Council, still no charge. But he's taking things very seriously. Even recalls all the way back home once he recognizes, hold on, things are missing. And the Banelings are here to help deal with this stack defense. Oh my god, the force fields though are pretty good, and they delay the Banelings. They actually don't get in. Finally, they crash into some of these cannons, but all the Banelings get cleaned up, and without these Banelings, the Hydras are not going to get anywhere near this base.
That was a clean defense here. Zest didn't even need the AoE.
Wow. I know you caught the tail end of that, but Banelings waddled in, and Zest had almost the perfect force fields and denied any kind of, like, decent connections. And again, as you were saying, Zest, he holds beautifully.
Now he's pretty dang far ahead. I mean, I guess to keep a note that cannons did go down by this base, but there are still shield batteries. There is still the opportunity for an overcharge. So RagnaroK does have to slow things down a little. He does need to think a bit more ahead instead of trying to break that base.
Yeah, he's not, mate. Like, that's the thing. RagnaroK has not droned up. He's still stuck at 65. Finally, if we see a drone on the way. But surprisingly, Zest is the one with the worker advantage. So it looks like RagnaroK wants to try and make this work. And, okay, he picks up a couple of Void Rays. Not bad, not bad. But, I don't know if this is the best idea. Like, he's kind of forcing himself, in a way, all in.
Yeah, absolutely is. He's trying to bait Zest onto creep here, and yeah, just trying to bait Zest into a bit more of a favorable engagement, but I don't know how much more favorable it is anymore. That's a lot of Void Rays.
There's a lot of Void Rays, mate. We got a lot of sentries as well. There are no Ravagers to deal with these force fields. Banelings are trying to waddle in, but again, Baneling's speed is nowhere near done.
They're still getting force field off. I don't think they've been able to connect even once against this army.
Exactly. We see another warp in of these slow lots. They're also getting in. Baneling's going to get some more decent connections, but the Void Rays are breaking through the Queens and the Hydras.
Just like so. GG is called. Zest takes game number 3. It's up on top of match point.
GG. Questionable moves there by RagnaroK, going for the Ling Bane Hydra all-in.
Yeah, very questionable, but I'm going to inform it by chat right now. What is RagnaroK if not a gambler, right?
True. That was the crazy thing, is that after that first push failed from RagnaroK, he doubled down. And he's like, alright, let's get some Hydra upgrades, let's get Baneling's speed as well, let's still pump out more Lings. Like, he just kept going. The problem is that typically the first push is your strongest push. And after that, like,
oh yeah,
if you don't deal enough damage or any damage, then the Protoss just explodes. Not in a good way.
Yeah. As we just saw, exploding force fields, and you explode Banes, except your Banes don't connect. So it's like, you explode like my building.
Is everything okay, by the way? Is it so good?
Yeah, it's all fine.
Okay. But, yeah, this does mean that Zest is now on match point.
Asking for a quick little break here, but he does only need un momento, por favor, to get to the grand finals here. I'm honestly surprised that, you know, we were talking about it. We were kind of expecting a bit of a longer series here so far. We've just played 3 games, and none of them went to the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, like, I'm surprised just because earlier today we saw RagnaroK show off his control with Broodlords and Corruptors and Infestors and Vipers and Spore Forests, and I thought that 2000 Atmospheres would have been a good map for that sort of thing. To go up against this double Stargate style from Zest.
Maybe he's just worried about Zest's late game potential, or not even late game, mid to late game potential in that regard.
It seems that way from what we're seeing. It seems like RagnaroK wants to end things early, specifically against Zest. And I wouldn't blame him, right? Like, it's understandable, but as a fan, I would still like to see it.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe he might not believe in himself, but I believe in him. You know, it's like I want to see him. I want to see his late game go off against him, and now I don't know if we're gonna see it. Our next map is a big one, but still quite different. It is gonna be Pride of Altaris.
Gonna get a 3 right now. Not quite. It's Pavlovian at this point to me because of just how often we saw Cure do that. That every time I look at Pride of Altaris, it could be a PvZ like we're seeing right now, and I'm like, ah, yes, 3 racks.
My question to you is Zest chat enough to do what he did in Super Tournament and take the gold as is natural?
You know, against other players, I think he would be, but, you know, he knows he's up against RagnaroK now, so not quite, I'm gonna say, but I'd be more than happy to be proven wrong here, Zest. Wink, wink, nudge.
I 100% agree. I don't think it would work if he did it, but it would be fun if he did.
It would. Yeah, you know, he's on match point. He can afford to drop a map, but that's not typically how Zest operates. You know, it's not typically one to risk things when he's ahead. He is one to risk things when he's behind.
Oh yeah,
but not when he's ahead. Alright, we're going to be continuing our series now on Pride of Altaris LE. We're here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner. You, of course, have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming DPG. And he only needs un momento, por favor. He's not walling off. He's not walling off. He's going for the gold. He is Zest.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Pride of Altaris LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Alpha X, scouting with his probe. I mean, with his what is even happening right now with the workers? It is RagnaroK.
No, Zest. Zest, yes. He's gonna take RagnaroK.
Is he gonna? No. But RagnaroK is. This is okay. So RagnaroK, he actually hit his drone to avoid the probe, and he waited. He delayed his base to wait for Zest to leave. So Zest, he was looking for the gold, but he missed it.
And now he's gonna think. Oh wait, no, he's not. He's just got the pool now. Yep. It would have been even bigger brained if Zest overreacted and thought it was a pool first, but yeah, he confirms that there is a hatchery somewhere. Just isn't aware of where it is yet.
Yeah, like for all he knows, RagnaroK took it across the map. So Zest, he's gonna go on a bit of a trip to look for said hatchery to figure out where the hell it is, as he expands and takes a regular base.
All right, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's
did
checking.
Suspect. He did suspect that it was his own gold base. Yep.
Now he's like, what? Question mark? Like, where is it? Where's the base? Where did it go?
He's gonna check that gold base location again, and he is gonna kick himself.
Yeah, Zest, he comes back up the ramp, gonna confirm. Wait, did you just take a late base? Is there like a fast lair? What's going on? Eventually figure it out and be like, God damn it.
This guy. SMH my head.
And RagnaroK gets away with it. Gets away with the gold.
Yep. So easy way for Zest to pressure that just yet.
First Adept is on the way, but by the time the Adept gets here, there's already a handful of Lings. Queen is in production as well. With good enough micro, RagnaroK should not lose the drone.
One drone goes down, but yeah.
F's in the chat.
Yeah. Could have been worse.
Yeah, RagnaroK was trying desperately to morph it into a gas geyser, but was a little bit too late. Meanwhile, Zest did open up with the Stargate first. Oracle is already on the way in production. And we'll see if Zest can try and punish said gold.
Yeah, and if he does with what? I mean, Oracles are coming out. I kind of miss the days where we would see Tempest as a response to the gold being taken, and by miss the days, I mean about a week, and by the days, I mean about a week ago.
I missed it too.
I think that's actually still something that Protoss players do every now and then, but yeah, I feel like it is about to be on its way out, and I wish it wasn't.
as the response is not as common as it used to be. And I'm really curious to see what RagnaroK has in store for us here. Like, obviously, this is a great launch pad for Creep. Creep is already being spread across the map. Roach Warren is being thrown down for potentially a Queen Roach Bush. Obviously, we're still lacking in Queens, but RagnaroK is working on that. Oh, and we see another Twilight
but
Council.
Surely. Oh. Well, that's one way to punish the gold. Live the depths.
Yep. You're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. Here we go. 2 oracles ahead towards that main base. And there are those glaives.
Slowly getting chronoed out. Bit by bit. And as though RagnaroK is taking this seriously, he knows he's going to need a little bit more firepower when it comes to defending his gold base. So Roach Warren did finish up earlier on, and yeah, now he's just working on getting a bit of an elastic defense for his Roach force.
Yep, roaches are already in production here. A couple of adepts do get warped in at home to defend. What's important is that because RagnaroK was blindly going into a Roach Warren, like, he will have them to defend against glaive adepts. So unlike the game, unlike Hardwire where he just died to glaive adepts suddenly, that should not be happening here.
Really shouldn't. But we'll see. It only takes one shade to complete, and still quite a bit of ground to cover. I mean, just looking at the creep from the gold base to natural, it's not entirely connected.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that as well. What I will say is that because RagnaroK is counterattacking with these roaches, or at least looking to, it should force Zest to keep something at home. I say that, the adepts are on the way.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He keeps one adept at home. That's all you need if you're Zest, apparently.
It is all you need. The adepts rock up, but there are roaches to meet them. And this is where what you were talking about comes into play. Roaches are here at the third. Is there going to be anything at the natural or in the main of RagnaroK?
Well, RagnaroK was trying to catch a shade, but didn't quite get it. No Galarian Constitution. These roaches are, yeah, they're still fairly slow off of creep. But on creep, though, that's what you gotta watch out for.
Yeah, exactly. Zest, he doesn't commit to anything. Not yet. He's already transitioning. Immortals are already on the way.
And that's a good start to defend against a roach counterattack, I suppose. But yeah, as the game goes on, I would like to see him throw down a Robo Bay.
Mate, ask and you shall receive.
Hell yeah!
Robotics Bay is on the way. Massive shout out to these 2 oracles. Finally, they get some drone kills.
Yeah, finally paying for themselves a little bit. This is why I like Zest, you know? He listens.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes he's too much of a rebel.
You're not wrong. Finally, RagnaroK is counterattacking across the map. He's got a decent queen count. To be fair, queens aren't that important. It's not like they're a void race to defend against. But does he have enough to break through all these adepts and sentries?
Unfortunate position here on the Roaches and Ravagers. Oracle's getting a couple of free shots off. She's able to snipe a couple of these Ravagers before much could really happen.
I'm a little bit surprised. Where are the shield batteries? Where are the cannons? Like, Zest honestly doesn't have a lot here to help fortify the third.
He's going to have to rely way more on his control, and I'm not even sure if that's going to be enough as the Lings get a perfect surround on top of his army. Biles a landing left and right. Immortals are standing strong. I say that as the Immortals fall. And this Disruptor is just too little too late at this point.
Yeah, the Purification Nova will go off and it gets a decent connection, but it doesn't even matter because this third base is completely forfeit. I'm so surprised. GG! RagnaroK! We are going to that ace match.
Nice to see.
I'm so surprised that Zest with his glaive adepts, he saw the roaches, like he saw the army. And I'm just surprised how naked that third base really was. Like, there was nothing ready there. Well, the army was there, sure, but, you know, not the typical, like, Protoss defensive structures that we usually see.
Yeah, we talked about cutting corners against RagnaroK pretty consistently throughout this tournament. And then we got Zest versus RagnaroK, and we're like, ah, yes, Zest. He doesn't cut those corners, man. He, you know, makes sure that he is prepared. Not on Pride of Altaris, apparently.
Apparently not. I mean, obviously the goal base does change things, right? It does mean that RagnaroK can kind of boom when in his army a little bit faster, and maybe that caught Zest off guard. But again, at the same time, like he saw the army for the most part. Like he was quite active with it, with his adepts, and again, it seemed like he was hoping RagnaroK was more afraid of the adepts and was just gonna stay at home instead, right?
RagnaroK is no fear, mate. He knows it's an illusion. You know, RagnaroK is the one player in the world who can see Halukes without needing detection. Anyway, we are going to be concluding the series now on Berlingrad LE, the shortest map in the current map pool. And we're kicking things off in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have a blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. He is Zest.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player tying up the series and taking it all the way to game number 5, representing Alpha X. It is RagnaroK.
Just need to take a second here to exclamation mark Funara Starduck in the chat. just hit GM in Kerrigan Survival apparently.
Shaking my head, mate. Shaking. I mean, congratulations, Starduck, on hitting GM. Does that mean that now you're done?
Yeah.
Are we going back to laddering on StarCraft? Are we going back to practicing, maybe?
Please?
Please? Oh, God.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Fun fact: the GM in KS2 is a little bit more exclusive, and they actually have like a voting period.
You vote for the GM.
Yeah, you vote for GMs.
That is pretty cool.
The community decides who deserves to be GM that season.
What was Starduck's campaign like? If I hit GM, I swear to thee.
I swear to thee, I will spam exclamation mark KS2 in the CranKy Ducklings chat as often as possible. And he kept his promise.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, God. Awful.
I just think back to Duckling Showdown where he asked him, how do you even get into Carry of Survival anyway? And I was like, oh yeah, it was literally a mistake.
Did he like accidentally get into a lobby?
It was.
Oh my god.
He did. He said he was trying to get into a different. It was like a different arcade game at the time, which wasn't as addicting. He just wanted to kill a couple of minutes or something like that. Mm-hmm. But he accidentally clicked on it, and it's like, yeah, biggest mistake of his life.
It happens. He accidentally took the drug, and now he's hooked forever, and he can't live without it. It's a problem.
I just realized, kids. Don't click on suspicious lobbies.
Exactly. Stay away from those suspicious lobbies that you don't know anything about, okay? They're dangerous. And speaking of dangerous, Zest once again going for the Void Ray first, going for his Stargate. Oh boy. And it's the ace match. I'm honestly surprised that we've gotten here as quickly as we did as well.
It hasn't even been half an hour, has it?
Yeah.
I really thought we were gonna get the slow Sky Toss versus Spore Force, but nah, mate, it's a new year. It's 2022. It's time to leave behind builds like that. I almost wanted to say toxic builds because you know that's a common New Year's resolution. You know, leave behind toxic people, but
oh my god,
it is a valid playstyle, even if it is not as exciting.
Okay, you're not even Zerg, and you're like, it's toxic, man. Get it out of here. the PvZ meta.
Look, mate, I just played against 3 different mech players yesterday, so
oh,
yeah, now I know how Zerg players feel.
Hashtag blame Maru, mate.
Blame Maru, man.
Blame Ryung, actually.
Yeah, no, that is true. Maru only plays those styles because of Ryung.
Oh god. Shaking my head. Well, speaking about those styles, we do see something similar here from Zest. He did go for that Oracle after the Void Ray and up.
He got the queen?
The queen!
Dude. It's not quite the same as killing the queen, but yeah, what is that? 1 inject cycle? Is that a whack?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. When it comes to damage, at least Circle's still alive. Attempted to maybe throw down another stasis at the third base. But behind this, Zest is doing Zest things. We do finally see that second Stargate. We do see the Forge, +1 air attack. Skyless.
Finally. Well, I say finally, but he did try to go into this style in 2000 atmospheres, but
True.
RagnaroK decided to put an end to that, and by decided to put an end to that, I mean kill himself in that game.
You're not wrong. That was the game where he tried to go Lingbane Hydra and go for an all-in. I'm curious if he does a similar thing here. He does have a lair on the way. Crease spread is looking pretty good, not gonna lie. We see a Ling Flood coming to try and deal with this third. Maybe even not just a Ling Flood. Roaches are getting ready as well.
Yeah, once again, RagnaroK just wants to end the game quickly. It's understandable. This is Berlingrad, so it does play into early Queen Roach pushes like this, but Zest already has a ton of Void Race out, and he's getting even more. He did not neglect the side defense by his third base this time, and
Yeah.
he's in a pretty comfortable position defensively.
And I appreciate that RagnaroK recognizes this, and he's like, oh my god, okay, this push isn't going to work. Zest sees it. This time Zest has a mass amount of side defense. I'm going to drone up, and I'm going to take a Spire. But it does mean that because his initial plan was for this push, RagnaroK is behind economically. Like, he hurt himself spending all this larva on Lings and Roaches. And now Zest can potentially take advantage of that.
Well, we'll see. As for now, he still wants to stay as safe as possible. He doesn't want to cut too many corners, so a fourth base won't be on the way for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. Still just securing that third. Meanwhile, Void Rays are on the hunt. They're looking for Phoenix. No, the Queens! They turn around! No, there's only 3 here! Oh, God.
All he needs to do is activate Prismatic Alignment. He has a recall available if things get really too dicey.
He can fight 3
He's gonna go for it!
if he wanted
He
to.
can definitely fight 3 queens, yeah.
Oh, the rest of the Queens, though, they get alerted, and RagnaroK, he is on the way, but the 4th... That's a kill!
Man.
Oh, no.
Wasn't even cancelled.
Not the
RagnaroK
lair, not the lair!
already behind.
Oh!
Even further behind now.
Oh, God. Thankfully, Prismatic Alignment is on cooldown, so Zest couldn't focus down another building, but instead he gets a gas, he gets an Overlord, and he can... Oh, my God, he can even get more.
That he can. And killing the Extractor, not as devastating as killing the Lair here, but considering that RagnaroK is trying to go for Mutalisk, every bit of gas counts right now. Fourth base gets denied again.
Exactly. Feels bad, man. This entire time, RagnaroK has been getting ready for a counterattack, but the Void Rays get recalled, and Zest is ready.
Yeah. It's not enough Zerg to really crack this position.
Really isn't. A lot of these roaches are getting shaved off. Meanwhile, I'm a little bit surprised. RagnaroK does gamble once again. It doesn't go for Corruptors, goes straight into Mutas. He wants to get into that mineral line, but the Mutas get scouted.
And I was gonna say, there's not a lot of anti-air here for Zest, but forgot about how many gateways he was throwing down. Very quick warping of Stalkers is enough to deter the Mutas, and carriers are on the way.
Carriers are on the way. Oh, the Mutaflux, they turn around, they try to focus down the Void Rays, but the micro by Zest, he pulls back the weakened Void Ray, doesn't lose anything.
And now Fluxmates has finished. Void Rays aren't the best unit against Mutalisk, but now he has the opportunity to kite against them. Now, I don't know, man. I want to say RagnaroK is on a timer, but I feel like time is already up for him.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he does pick off a Disruptor, which is something. It's nice, I guess. The problem is that RagnaroK still doesn't have a 4th. He finally finishes up a 4th base, but it took so long for this to happen. Zest already has his own 4th on the way. Like, RagnaroK doesn't really have the economy to sustain this army, and this madman, he's going back into Hydras.
Okay. Well, they are pretty good against the Void Rays, and there isn't quite a critical mass of carriers out right now, but Zest is working on disruptors, and there we go. Back into carrier production.
Yeah, I just worry because the problem with this is as he.
Oh!
Oh my god! Up!
Disruptors are so exposed every single time, man.
Mate,
Zest just wants some balls.
this is a cursed
And you
robo.
can't get him.
You don't want to come out of this robo, mate. You come out, you die.
Uh,
And that's the pro
Yeah,
side, is that RagnaroK has actually sniped 2 disruptors already. That means, the Hydras have a little bit less to worry about.
yeah. Until the carriers get out.
Yeah, I mean.
But fourth base gets sniped again. Thankfully, RagnaroK did double expand the last time, so yeah, he does have a bit of a backup fourth, but it's not much of a consolation.
Oh my!
Charge to keep it alive.
Every time, just stop producing from that robo. Oh my god!
That units from that robo have 2 options: either die to Mutalisk or get Yaku Curse.
Oh god! They're coming back! They're coming back! They won it!
And there's no battery overcharge this time.
Oh,
There's no
no.
battery overcharge this time.
Okay.
But there are cannons. So.
Yeah, they back off in the end. They do not commit. But what I was getting at is I feel like RagnaroK, he just doesn't have the gas to sustain this. Like, he switched from getting Spire upgrades to Hydra upgrades to now Infestors. Like, this is quite expensive. He's getting there, don't get me wrong. But I don't think he's going to be able to rebuild it after a fight. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, how many Mutalisks went out of this game? 8 already. That's... yeah, unfortunate. He hasn't really been able to make these Mutalisks pay for themselves quite yet. That's pushing out now. Oh, that's a beautiful surround!
Oh my god, it's an insane surround. Storm isn't even done. We have 4 High Templar here and they're going to do nothing.
Yeah, Disruptors honestly did about the best they could against the Ling Bane, but what about the Hydras now? That's the scariest unit out here for RagnaroK.
God, it really is. Meanwhile, there was a bit of a zealot run by Will Deny Mining here at the 5th base. And Zest will back off long enough for Storm to finish. And now these High Templar are going to be terrifying. There's no War Prism, though. We're lacking a War Prism. Like, these High Templar, even though there's a lot of potential there, they're also quite exposed.
Yeah, they're pretty exposed. They are very badly weakened. Here comes the Warp Prism now. So at least that's, he could try to juggle even, as hard as juggling High Templar are. At least he has the option to do that.
Yep, that he does. First Nova goes off. Ooh, only gets a single Hydra. And now RagnaroK, he's getting ready to surround.
He's getting ready to surround, but here comes those storms! The connections on these Banelings did take out every single not Void Ray, sorry, High Templar. But there's not much left on the ground now for RagnaroK.
Yeah, and the Zealots are coming in. The warping of Zealots, but at the same time, the mutants come from behind. They're trying to focus on the carries, but they do not get close enough. The anti-air for RagnaroK is crumbling, and GG gets called.
Zest, once again, will confirm he is best. He takes that series and advances to the grand finals. This is his home. This is his bread and butter.
GG. Congratulations, Zest. Well played. He will move on to those grand finals. And does he have an opponent waiting for him? Have the lower semis even started?
Not quite yet. I just checked on Chicken Man's channel. They're in game number 4. And Gumiho is currently up 2-1 in the series. Gumiho! Up 2-1 against Solar. If this was the best of 3, he'd have won already. Jesus. That is a bit of a surprising result, but yeah, let's see. There's still a couple of games left in that series.
Yeah, oh my god. I'm so impressed that Gumiho is currently leading that series. It's not necessarily something that we expect too often, but Gumiho has some pretty strong results today. He 2-0'd Haas, he took down Special in a TBT, now he's ahead against Solar. Damn.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here, It is a best of 5. If Solar can win this game, and then we'll get into an ace match, and, we could have a Zest versus Solar finals, but yeah, no, it seems like Gumiho is getting back up there. I feel like out of all of the out of all the players who returned from military service, when we're thinking of, you know, true, well, true was very recent, so maybe not true, but when we're thinking of players like Classic, Hero, Dream, and whatnot, Gumiho was lagging behind a little bit, but it's not like he was ever that far behind, right?
Yeah,
slowly but surely getting back up there.
Like, I feel like Gumiho is a little bit underrated. Like, he's, in my mind, he's kind of like the forgotten GSL champ. Like, like, he is a GSL champion, but when people think of like the top Terrans in Korea, they think of the Four Horsemen. They think of Innovation, TY, Byeon, and Maru.
Two of them already left us.
Yeah, and under them, just under them, you think Cure, right? And it's like, Gumiho, he won a GSL. Like, he's good. He's great. But I guess because of his hiatus, because of military service, like, he has kind of left people's minds a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, it is unfortunate. I mean, like, very shortly after Gumiho's championship, I think he was very, very much overshadowed. First by the likes of Innovation, and then Maru after him, and TY a little bit after that. And he did kind of go into the military without, you know, being able to secure that one more major victory, but he's still hungry. He still wants another championship now that he is out of the military.
Exactly. Like, despite that, like, he's still here, he's still competing, has a lot of support from his team as well, from Psystorm. So again, it's
KJ.
Shout out to KJ for supporting his boys. KJ. So I'm excited to see how far Gumiho can go, you know? Like, is this the start of something? It's the start of a new year. Is this the start of a new Gumiho? Hopefully we're going to find out today.
Yeah.